So if you've been somehow living under a rock, Ghost of Tsushima is officially being released on PC this year on May 16. Now, as someone that has platinumed this game on PlayStation 5, as well as placing it as my personal game of the year for 2020, among games like The Last of Us Part 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, among others, I believe it's only right for me to make this video. What I want to do is hopefully convince people watching to buy Ghost of Tsushima on PC if you have not yet played it on PlayStation. Now, of course, this video will contain no story spoilers at all, so you don't need to worry about that. I'll be going over the general story of the game, the stunning world, the combat, the side quests, the expansion, and also what the PC port of Ghost of Tsushima offers. So if you do enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and without any more delay, let's get right into it. Let's first start off with, in my opinion, the most important thing about any single player game, and that is the story. At the core of it all, the focus is becoming a legend. The story of Ghost of Tsushima is focused on the Mongol invasion of Tsushima Island, a once real historical event that occurred in 1274. So the prologue of the game, without giving away any spoilers that's not shown in trailers, pre-release gameplay, and even the blurb, is set during this invasion. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai of Japan, as well as being the nephew of Lord Shimura, the Lord of Tsushima Island. The initial confrontation with the Mongols does not go well for the samurai forces, which causes the Mongols to take hold. Jin Sakai, of course, emerges as one of the few samurai left on the island after surviving the attack. With his life completely shattered by the Mongol invasion, he must pick himself up to defend his homeland, even if it requires him to forsake the samurai honor that's been instilled into him. He sets out on a quest for vengeance, aiming to grow stronger and become a legendary figure known as the Ghost. The overall goal is to repel the Mongol invaders and reclaim his home. This becomes the central theme driving the entire story and gameplay of the game. I like to think Ghost of Tsushima stands as an exceptional samurai simulator, a must-play for those that adore ancient Japanese culture. It serves as a heartfelt homage to the samurai genre, created with a level of commitment kind of reminiscent of the legendary swordsman of Japan. I feel like Sekiro might be the only samurai-esque style game that can compete with Ghost of Tsushima. Everything in terms of the presentation of the story, the cutscenes, the emotions, the characters we meet, the overall storytelling, it's all done exceptionally well. It's a great balance of both intense action and also powerful emotional moments that can often cause a tear to roll down your face. Jin Sakai's overall character is depicted in a relatively straightforward manner. The game gives you the option to either choose English or Japanese voice acting, but even though I've always watched, anime in Japanese, Ghost of Tsushima is a game that I feel like is suited perfectly for English, especially considering the lip sync is done to perfection with English, and it's not the same case with Japanese for some reason. Stunning is an understatement to describe Ghost of Tsushima's world. Beyond being a game focused on samurais and Mongols, the world of Ghost of Tsushima draws you into its massive grasslands, dense forests and towering mountains. In many large open world games, the story can often be overshadowed by the monotony of map exploration. However, Ghost of Tsushima stands apart in this regard. The exploration is so engaging that it's very easy to become sidetracked. What I mean is that you'll frequently find yourself diverted from your main mission. Perhaps you're on a mission to save villagers, when suddenly a fox catches your attention, or maybe you're en route to upgrade your armor, only to decide it's the perfect moment to compose a heartfelt haiku. You see, with an abundance of things to do in the world of Ghost of Tsushima, including finding pillars of honor for cosmetic rewards, lighting lighthouses, soaking in hot springs which offers a cheeky glimpse of Jin's naked ass, and also visiting shrines, there's pretty much never a dull moment in the world. In terms of the actual visual side of the world, it's shown to us in a way with its beauty, characterized by rich, vivid colors, intense weather effects, and a lively atmosphere filled with fluttering leaves, petals, butterflies, and just other small details that bring each location to life. During the day, the island resembles welcoming green hills, while sunsets drench the landscapes with an orange glow. And then at night time, the bright moonlight reflects off the dark blue waters of lakes and waterfalls. Now, although the game offers a feature to turn the visuals into black and white, echoing the classic samurai films of Akira Kurosawa, I would honestly not recommend playing with it from start to finish, as you'll be missing out on the beauty of the world, as it's meant to be showcased. In Ghost of Tsushima, although you have the option to mark waypoints and objectives on your map, the game innovatively uses the direction of wind to lead you to your next destination. The wind, as it moves through the trees or sweeps across the field, serves as your seamless guide from one location to the other. Just simply mount your horse and let the wind steer your journey forward. This approach is not only highly intuitive but also distinctly original, doing away with the traditional on-screen navigation aids such as arrows and dotted lines. This method offers a deeply immersive navigation experience, and I am honestly quite shocked that we don't see this feature implemented in many other open world games. Throughout the game, you'll encounter one of the most profound yet user-friendly combat systems in modern gaming. With your katana, you'll gain access to 4 distinct stances as you progress, each designed to counter a specific type of enemy. This system might remind some players of For Honor, though switching between stances in Ghost of Tsushima is noticeably quicker. You'll often find yourself rapidly switching stances several times within a single encounter to effectively respond to the varying threats you face. Let's say you choose an incorrect stance. You'll find that your opponent is more resilient, making the combat much more challenging. For example, fighting a spear-wielding Mongol with the appropriate wind stance is effective, whereas if you use the sword stance, which is better suited for sword-bearing enemies, this will result in a prolonged effort to break their guard. This dynamic forces you to adapt your strategy on the fly, especially when facing groups composed of diverse enemy types. Ghost of Tsushima distinguishes itself with its stance mechanics, making them not just beneficial but also essential for mastering combat. The game also incorporates a standout standoff mechanic, which is a nod to classic samurai showdowns executed with precision. These standoffs, which offer the chance to engage enemies in honorable one-on-one duels, require exact timing to come out on top. It's not just melee weapons that you're able to use in combat. The game gives you a pair of bows, enabling you to eliminate enemies from a distance or target an enemy archer who's on the run. One aspect I love about the combat in Ghost of Tsushima is the implementation of gadgets, as well as various armor sets. You see, many of the armor sets in the game can be used to offer additional benefits. For combat situations, just simply equip your samurai armor for increased protection, or let's say if stealth is your strategy, the Ronin attire is an excellent selection for slipping by unnoticed. The game also features a resolve meter, which fills up as you defeat enemies. This meter allows you to execute powerful special attacks or heal yourself, giving you strategic risk-reward choices. So overall, the combat is exceptionally fluid and intense, and it really does give you a sensation similar to what I envision being a samurai would entail. The main story in Ghost of Tsushima is great. It's got well done and exciting moments, but I like to think the game truly shines in its Tales of Tsushima, aka the side quests. These missions are where you get to meet your allies, hear stories from the people living on Tsushima Island, and learn about the place's legends. The idea of finding these Tales of Tsushima is set up in a way that naturally moves you to the game, making it feel like there's a clear path to follow in a game that otherwise lets you go wherever you want. This setup is especially helpful later in the game, as it lets you discover more of the game's world while still moving forward in the story. You might start off wanting to stick to the main story, but believe me, it's very easy to get pulled into one or more side quests by just exploring the world. Each quest feels like it adds something important to the overall story, whether it's directly part of the main plot, adds depth to the world and its characters, follows a historical tale, or helps build up Jin's character. You see, managing to weave all of these elements together so well is a big achievement for Ghost of Tsushima. It allows you to make choices and take on quests that shape your own version of Jin Sakai, leading to a game experience that feels unique to you by the time you finish. Now, without spoiling the Tales of Tsushima, I will say the standout side quest for me is the Yuriko storyline. It's a storyline that is full of so much emotion, and I highly recommend you play it from start to finish. Now, since this video is of course a video about the PC version of Ghost of Tsushima, this of course is also related to the Director's Cut edition, which involves the Iki Island expansion. Now, the Iki Island expansion in Ghost of Tsushima becomes accessible after you finish the first act of the main game, introducing Jin to a new adventure on an island located near Tsushima. Here, the antagonist is not Khotun Khan, but a mystifying bandit leader known as the Eagle. She exerts a fearsome control over the island and its people. Jin encounters flashbacks and faces a potent substance that enhances its users, unveiling hidden truths about his heritage and his father's role in the island's tragic history. Now, of course, without revealing too much to avoid spoilers, it's noteworthy how seamlessly Iki Island's narrative integrates with the core storyline. Since it's available after completing the very first act in the base game, this expansion gives you a lot more understanding of Jin's backstory and his complex feelings towards his family past. It's an expansion that I feel like serves as more than just a standout integrated DLC into a video game. Instead, it contributes massively to the overarching narrative, and I highly recommend playing this expansion from start to finish, whether it's at the end of the base game or after the first act. It quite literally does not affect anything. So the great thing about Ghost of Tsushima that's being released on PC this May is that it's actually the Director's Cut edition of the game, which is a massive positive. This edition features the full game, the Iki Island expansion, and also the co-op online multiplayer Legends mode. Now, what's actually included in the PC port over the console version is, for one, ultra-wide monitor support, which is great for taking in landscapes with a more cinematic field of view. There's also the addition of Nvidia DLSS 3, AMD FSR 3, and also Intel ZSS upscaling. Another implementation into the PC port is DualSense support with haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. You can also make use of Steam input to remap it to whatever controller you like. And speaking of Steam, as of me making this video, the game is available to pre-purchase for $60 in the US or $49.99 in the UK, which personally I feel like is a reasonable price, especially for the Director's Cut edition. I believe if you pre-purchase the game before its release, you'd receive a new Game Plus horse travel companion, traveler's attire, and also broken armor dials from Baku's shop. Oh, and by the way, I know it sounds like this is a sponsored video, but I promise you it's not. I just genuinely enjoy the game and recommend getting the PC version. Also, I'm actually very curious to see what modders will do to this game. That for sure will be interesting. The first thing that comes to my mind is Zoro from One Piece being modded into the game as the protagonist instead of Jin Sakai. Ghost of Tsushima is a game I recommend. In fact, I recommend you pre-order it on PC before it's released. It's a game where you will, and I mean you will, get lost in the beauty of its world and interact with almost anything and everything. The fact that such a great game is being ported over to PC and is also the Director's Cut edition can only mean good things. In fact, I am pretty jealous of people that have not yet played the game. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.